So, in my paper, I asked the question, how does Flannery use the racial problem throughout stories to change society and to change the views of the higher and the lower class? So, basically, what I'm asking is, or what the question was how does the racial problem go throughout the stories, and how do the characters learn or teach others how to change it in a way? So, I used Nelson, Dudley, and Julian, and I use them because I knew that they had that racism in their life, and how all of them kind of used their education in a way to change how either everyone else saw racism or how they saw it in a way. So my thesis was Flannery creates an education through racism within Nelson, Dudley, and Julian by giving them the chance to learn what kind of world they live in, and that they all have to realize that the world is not changing and that they have the choice to stay in the past or create a new future. So basically, what I mean by that is they can either ignore the fact that they are being racist and that they, in a way, aren't, that means that they won't do anything, or they can do something about it and learn what they're doing or teach others what they're doing and create something new, so it's not the old way, it becomes a new way. And so, on that point, on page 468, when Nelson sees the poster, it says, "The Negro was about Nelson's size and he was pitched forward at an unsteady angle, but the putty that held him on the wall had cracked. One of his eyes was entirely white and he had a piece of brown watermelon." So, and it keeps going on. But we see that Nelson sees this poster and sees something that he's never seen, and he kind of gets this new perspective on what black people are and kind of what white people are in a way, and that they are very different, but then at the same time they are also the same, and how he uses this education and he tries to, in a way, teach Mr. Head this in a way, but they also give kind of a connection, if that makes sense. And then on page, I also had, it's not really a quote, but also the bus that Julian is on, and how I thought that that bus is kind of how when Jack went west and he kind of tries to get away from everything, this bus in a way is kind of how or how people can move forward in life, and how that racism will be in the past, but as we move forward we see that it won't happen anymore, and this bus is that kind of way. And we see that when Julian is trying to teach his mother a lesson, and he kind of teaches himself a lesson in a way, because he's trying to teach her, he's like, oh, you don't have to pay them because they don't want this charity, they don't want this, they don't want that. But then he does this and he's like, oh wait, I never actually knew this, and he starts to change his mind of how black people are. And then we have on page 412, it says, it starts off and it goes, "Do you have a light?" And this is Julian talking to the black man, and this is when he's trying to prove a point that black people aren't bad or anything, and that they'll give you something if you need it. But he's trying to be funny with it, but obviously the black man doesn't see it like that. And we see that in a way Julian's mother is also the one teaching Julian a lesson, considering that she is the mother, she is the parent, so that is her role. Then also go along with it is on 418, when Julian's mother says, "Here's a bright new penny for you." So Julian's mother is giving Carver this penny because she feels that he has nothing, and Julian knows that it's a terrible idea and that she shouldn't do it, but she still does, and she pays for it because she ends up getting hit and dying. But we see that this education throughout, and how we learn that because of that something bad happened, and how there is this huge spider web in a way that if they would have known that black people are just like white people, then none of this would have happened. And this just proves that the education can, at the end, keep from a life or death situation, but also that it just changes the whole society in a way. And that is my paper.